Is this person masturbating during his rant?
Okay, we're not going to use any names in here, and I don't want you guys to use. I will use false names on this. I will use false names. There's an individual from Australia that had this quasi-crazy relationship with another guy on here who happens to be living in the Philippines. Somebody with a mouth as big as his belly. They became good friends. I think there's an element of loneliness that took place on there, and an element of trust that was built up between the two. In fact, the individual from Australia gave as much as 100. Where he got the money through the years, I don't know. As much as he claims to be almost 100,000 American dollars to this other guy, this other YouTuber. 100,000. 100,000. But the other guy held him ransom and said, you know, if you don't talk to me on the phone, you hang up on me, it's going to cost you $1,500. That's how sick this bastard is. Okay. During this quasi-relationship, excuse me, this trust was built up on there. They've had many sessions on Skype. Many sessions on Skype. And they talked for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Sometimes to the point that the guy from Australia, who's pretty lonely, didn't mind talking to him, but there was too much of a demand on him. When the other guy was told that, hey man, I need to get off, I've got to take my meds, I need my rest, I'm not feeling good, he would accept it. And he'd call him off the hook if he never answered the phone. Called him off the hook. So the other guy from Australia got so pissed off, they had to answer the phone to shut him up. And then this nice guy, this foreigner that's living in the Philippines, this nice guy that he is, put sanctions on him that's going to cost you $1,500 American dollars because you didn't answer my phone call, and I'm going to put sanctions against you. Imagine that. Well, let me tell you a brief story about something that happened and transpired. The enemy of my enemy is my friend is the theme on here to start with. That screen's got to start lighting up a little bit more, folks. I'm going to wait a little bit more here. I don't know. Let your suspense build up. But I could go on about some details. Because the guy's just as asshole as Barry is. They think on the same level, that's why. Those are the people that we don't need on here. No matter what he thinks of Barry, free Barry, that's gone. Now it's dealing with Barry's psychology for being locked up and how long he's going to be locked up for, Mr. Bruiser. And I don't think Mr. Bruiser supported Barry at all. I don't think Mr. Bruiser gave any money for that so-called talk about phony funds operated by the guy who said that he was drugged. And that's why he stuck his tongue down a ladyboy's mouth, and God knows what god-awful things he did afterwards. During my conversations with the Aussie guy, he got to trust me. In fact, he's even sent me and Gilda some money. I mentioned that before, so you know I'm not lying. And we talked about a lot of things. I even got a little personal with him. But I always held back because I knew that the information, I didn't trust anyone, could be used against me. But I would certainly listen to what he had to say to me. Now, most of our communication was all, well, it was a combination. It was Skype, either it was text or on camera. But I learned a lot about him, and we didn't get into the politics of whether or not he said he was in a profession that he was, which I knew was bullshit to begin with, okay? But I got him to trust me, and it's kind of that kind of military protocol that I have here, although I've never been in the military, is to learn what you can from somebody, build up their trust. Sorry, I'm telling you my trade secrets here. Build up their trust until they're actually open up to you. And that he did. And some of that stuff I've actually exposed in writing on YouTube in the past. Some things he said about the other guy. Now, this guy was extreme with me. He learned to hate the other guy. Because the other guy was holding him responsible for a set amount of money on something he was going to do that the Australian guy supposedly promised. So the other guy went ballistic. He went totally fucking ballistic. But prior to this, before he went ballistic, during their very intimate conversations about life in general, the other guy, not the Australian guy, would open up to him about his life, his drinking of rum to go to sleep, and a lot of things he was doing with his life, his loneliness. A few more, come on, before I say what I'm going to say, need a few more donations on here, folks. I'm ready to just haul ass. I'm ready to haul ass. I'm ready to haul ass on this. Anticipation. Free Barry my ass. Come on, guys, as Jeff Hart says. One segundo here. What you just don't know about certain people. Get down. All the way down. I'm going to get on my knees in front of you. And what am I going to do? Where have we heard this? I'll pay you $50 to suck my dick. Where have we heard that? Making you think, folks, huh? Get down. Or get up again. Get down. Get funky. Oh, let's do the monkey on Skype. Oh. Oh. Get down. Lay it down. Show me what you got, baby. Maybe not a lot. Yow. Yow. Let's let it begin. And I hope you show your appreciation after this. During this trusty time that I've spent talking to this Aussie man, well, we were on the outs for a long time, and for good reason. But then when things went sour with the other guy, he decided to open up with me, even helped me and Gilder out with a little bit of money. We didn't need it, but it was a nice gesture anyway of his, and he did. We made trips to the Western Union. Forgot what we did it through, to prove it anyway, but it did happen. Now, you can believe this story, you cannot believe this story. That's up to you. I don't really give a shit either way. But I am going to tell you what happened. Yow. Double yow. Ow. No way. Not a chance. in romance. Okay, folks, here comes the moment you've been waiting for. During my conversations with the Aussie man, he revealed something to me that was kind of shocking, but not really totally shocking. Because you've heard the other guy, a lot of statements he made about getting down on his knees before people. You've seen him even expose himself on there, walking around with skirts on, with nothing underneath, claiming that he gives candy to people, these kids, at 4 o'clock every day. Something was wrong with that. Something was wrong with him. And it's apparently wrong when you watch his show that he does suffer from mental illness. Can we excuse that? Not all of it, according to what he says and does. But during my conversations with the Aussie man, I was told about an incident that it only happened once. This is not repetitive. This was one incident. And this is what turned off the Aussie man, extremely turned off to the other guy. Although the Aussie man was rather a lonely person in his own rights, and it really helped both of them to converse with each other because the other guy was a very lonely old man. So what exactly transpired? During one of the Skype sessions with the Aussie, the other guy made some suggestions because he felt a lot of trust and maybe a kindred spirit with the Aussie guy. He left himself off guard. Now, I must say, for sticking up for the Aussie guy, that he did not proceed with the intent of the other guy. Let's just put it this way, kindly. Okay. Shocking or not, oh, it's terrible to be alone. Make your life fulfilled. Hidden desires that you haven't had. No contact with the opposite sex of any sort. None. Leads people to do things that maybe you thought they'd never do before, but in their own desperation, they do things that they regret later and hope that it never gets out. That it never gets out. Well, there's a lot of shocking things on YouTube here that you don't hear about, and maybe some people have talked about but never elaborated on. So let's continue the sexy music here, and we're going to begin. We'll dispense with that. Just listen to my sexy voice. During these conversations that they two had over long periods of time, there was a trust built up, there was a camaraderie, there's a kind of kindred spirit, supposedly, but there really wasn't, because neither one of them trusted each other implicitly. It was only because of the exchange of money that kept the other guy in contact with the Australian guy. He was using him and abusing him for money, for a supposed project that was never going to happen, so that was considered actually extreme fraud. No names mentioned on here, please. No names mentioned on here, please. Jeff Hart, please remove your statement on there. Charles Luciano, please remove your statement on there. Immediately. Or I'll just have to remove it. Shall we continue? It was during one Skype session. A very noted session here. Something transpired that shocked the Aussie guy. Now, the Aussie guy had mental problems, for sure. He had a few of his own, actually. But never expected this to happen. I'm going to tell you what happened. There was some suggestive verbiage that was leading up to something that the Aussie guy did not expect. He knew that the other guy was capable of just about anything. Didn't expect this to hit him. From this point on, he totally lost trust. Well, he lost trust after he was charging him $1,500 penalties for not answering the phone. But his belief in this guy meandered away from the usual when he realized that some of the statements I was making about the individual was true, that he was just being used. He finally woke up. But prior to this, there was a Skype session. And we're not reading no material here. We're not showing no videos. This is just a trust system going on here. You can throw it out the window. That's perfectly fine, too. I have no reason to lie on here. This is the ace in the hole that I've been holding for a long time. Comes out today. I hope you show your appreciation afterwards. During this session, there was suggestive verbiage from the other guy of his loneliness and his horniness. He thought in his mind, in his own sick mind, that the other participant from Australia would take to this. What he proceeded to do was something I'm glad I don't have a video on, because I wouldn't be able to keep a meal in for a whole day. And what he did was exposed himself to the Australian guy. And he started playing with himself in order to titillate the Australian guy to get a good or bad reaction. But he took a chance to do this in hoping that the Australian guy would follow through. But he didn't follow through. The Australian guy was disgusted at what he did and stopped talking to him. And his words to the other guy, and I'll use a different name. He said, "Peter, this is not what I do. I'm disgusted." Wasn't exactly his words, but I paraphrased. "I'm disgusted at why did you do that? I don't want to see that, and I'm not going to participate in that." Yeah. Mushroom abuse. There you go. Abuse. Grooming. Yeah. So he basically wanted to masturbate to the guy in Australia. Wanted to masturbate to another man. This is the guy that proclaims all the time of what a real man is. We have a lot of people that say what a real man is on here, so we're not going to be specific. Hello, Jiffy. And on the legalities of all this, we're not mentioning any names, so good luck with that. I just say if the shoe fits, wear it. Now, to the Australian guy's disgust, it pretty much was kind of a what the fuck situation, and he shut the Skype off on there, broke the communication. The other guy was embarrassed about this for a long time. How do I know all this? Because the other guy from Australia would write me. But he would write me on the text portion of Skype, Mostly, that's where our communication was. That's where most of our communication was. I've seen posts by this person recently and in the past that makes me scratch my head as to his own sexuality. Now, we don't, we're open-minded people on this channel, no matter what your ethnicity is, no matter what your religious practices are, and what you do behind your own doors. And we're not going to attack people that are gay or lesbian, bisexual. We're not going to do that on my show. Some people do that. We're not doing that on my show. I let people do what they're going to do. Whatever they do behind closed doors is their business. Not like what Barry did when he got mad at his ex-girlfriend and told everybody what they were doing in a bedroom. That was wrong. That was wrong. It's none of anybody's business to know that, really. But I'm taking this to be my business right now. Because this guy's pushed me so far. And I got more. But we're going to stick to this for now. The disgust through the guy in Australia lasted a while. And he did talk to him afterwards. And the other guy promised he wouldn't do that. He said, I didn't know what got into me. I was drinking. The other guy from Australia says, no, I don't buy that, Peter. You were not drinking. You didn't look drunk. I've been talking to you long enough to know your moods and behavior. You were not drinking. Although the other guy did drink regularly. But during that time on Skype, he was not drinking, according to the Australian guy. He was not drinking at all. Because he knew him well enough. So the horrible displays that we've seen of this guy on YouTube, the horrible displays of exposing himself, the clothing he wore outside of his abode, where he could lean down and everybody could see everything underneath was exposed, basically would look like a fucking vagina. That was bad enough. But then to know that he was doing this with other guys, and God knows, maybe it's Jack Thompson, who knows who he did it with? Who the fuck knows? On Skype, and he spends so much time on Skype. This guy, Peter, that he actually did this with the Australian guy, makes me want to puke. I'm going to hold back my breakfast as a result of this. Disgusting. Absolutely fucking disgusting. Light up my screen, guys. If you don't, whatever, I'll accept it. But there's the information you're waiting for. You may be shocked. You may not be shocked about this. You take my word to be bullshit. It's okay. Oh, God, Philippines and beyond. You're a goner. People are going to have to fill him in later on and contact him. The best way you're going to know what this show's about. I'm still expecting more donations on here today for coming out with this. No names were mentioned on this show. I could be talking about anybody. If it sounds familiar to another character, it's simply coincidental. That's my disclaimer on this show. That is my disclaimer. Mr. Kent Cook is not here today. That's too bad. He made a good promise of another good super chat on here. We didn't make very much this morning. We did okay last night. I kind of thought my audience would be a little bit more responsive than they have to hear this story. But why don't I just continue a little bit more with the story? Relationship, as such, went very sour. No, you may not be able to, maybe you will. The relationship became very sour afterwards. There was nothing but a horror show between them. And the other guy got so upset with this guy that he could not help being so pissed off that he would lash out against him on his show. Although knowing the guy from Australia could have held this over his head, he was. At any time, he could have came out with that information. And probably could have came out with a video, which would have been worse. I don't have the video. I'll be honest and up front, I don't have the video. But the Australian guy has. He's got the video. Because he recorded it. That's his whole forte. The guy likes to record shit. But I thought it was disgusting. I thought it was despicable. It wasn't very becoming of this man. But then again, nothing about this man is becoming. Nothing about this man is honest and upfront. Nothing about this man is loving. except as being extremely vindictive and extremely hateful. And I held that ace in my pocket for a long, long time. Because lately this guy's been getting on my fucking nerves. Well, he's getting on a lot of people's nerves. Pinpoint who he is. I'm not saying who he is. You gotta use your own imagination. If the person is guilty of this, they know who they are. And as I'm going to say a disclaimer on my show, I'm not mentioning any names. It may not be the person you're thinking about. Let's call him Peter for legal purposes. Nothing else can be connected. It's all hearsay. Maybe I don't have a good relationship with this person, and someone can easily deduct and say, well, yeah, I know you're talking about him. But he may say, I know you're talking about me, and I'm going to prove it. No, you can't. It may not be about you. Never use the name on here, my friends. For my legal safety, I'm not going to. I don't want you to use any names on my show either. Appreciate that. And I'll deny it completely. Totally deny it. Because you're probably going to be wrong, right? Okay. This disgusting creature, who is not exactly something that you like looking at, who has a face for radio, shouldn't even be on YouTube, professing everything that he does on a daily level at lengthy times. Every time he opens his mouth, you know he's lying. A desperate man living a lonely, miserable life, who will die a lonely man. If he doesn't go to jail and suffer in jail for all the shit that he's done and involvement, then at least he's living a life in his own personal hell as we speak right now. From the person in Australia. That's what I heard from his own mouth. So of course he's going to put on shows saying, I'll pay you $50 if you get down in front of me, Andy Omar. $50 if you get down in front of me and suck my dick. Remember that one? There's another one too in there. A lot of innuendos. It's all coming together now. The guy who professes to be the ultimate man is not the ultimate man after all. How about that? Any other takers on donations on here, man? We're accepting donations. We had a good show last night. We're running a good show today. We got a couple of donations in here. I want to see more colors. I gave you the information that I promised to give you, and I thought some people were going to come through, but if they don't, they don't. We made a little bit last night. I'm not going to complain about it. And I said that last night's donations was going to be the prerequisite for today's show, and I have to be fair about this. I have to be fair about this. I think I'm a fair man. At least I try to be. This disgusting person who has the audacity to put his nose in other people's business all the time where it shouldn't be, who has done some dastardly things to people that is inexcusable in every fucking way, gets it back in his face. And I'm giving it back. And if he continues to do what he's doing, there's going to be more to come. He needs to stop right now. He needs to clean up his act. He needs to start talking truth to his patrons. He needs to start talking truth to his audience. He needs to stop doxing people. I'm only going to give one fucking warning. One fucking warning. I gave many to Barry, and he didn't cooperate. And you know where he is right now. Remember, folks, you've got one life to live. You don't want to live it in the cell. You don't want to live it in the pain of embarrassment either. I'll provide you that. I'm not a warrior. I never went to war. I was never in the service, but I learned the protocols of war by examining the weaknesses of people, examining their faults, structurally, mechanically, or mentally. Yeah. Oh, I was disgusted hearing that. When I told my partner what happened, she said, yeah. Somebody making a comment about me. Yeah, it's okay. I don't have to see their comment on my show. Now, what I tell you came out of the mouth of the other individual from Australia. So take it up with him. He's alive. Conjure him up from the spirit world. He's alive. That's where I got my information from, and it happened to be in a very personal session with this guy where he was opening up and telling me all the facts of his quasi-friendship with the other individual. And he was so mad at him at the time that he was willing to come up with this stuff. He was willing to tell me this information, which I enjoyed learning, but I just couldn't mentally digest it. It was just too graphic. No, the individual is not going to give you that video at any point. No. He's not. And I'll tell you right now, if I had it, well, I still wouldn't put it out. I don't want a lawsuit. Okay, I still wouldn't put it out. Well, who's to say I don't have it? But I wouldn't put it out. I'm not that stupid. My name is not Barry Jordan. Name is not Barry Jordan. We're hearing all kinds of disgusting things. We're hearing with the ladyboy lover sticking his tongue down a ladyboy's throat, and God knows what they did afterwards. I mean, all this shit comes out after a while. All the ugliness comes out after a while. They hide behind their computers, and they dish out all this hate and all this bullshit when their shit don't stink. And they got a lot of skeletons in their closets, and most people out here actually do have a lot of skeletons in their closets as we speak. You can hear the clanging of their bones when they put on their show. The closets are just trying to get out. And some people need to get out of the closet, if you know what I mean. Some people need to get out of that closet.
eToro presents how to trade commodities in 30 seconds. First, open the app.
Mama told me be a good son. Nothing negative about my love, fed in the sun. While I got my old man doing OT, she brought the strength of lean just to keep it low key. Now look at all the freaks, still in the same circle, same dream, same team. Brother still no green, and all the ladders are hard, guys running in the backseat.
Get the fucking thing hard and stick it in. Find the nearest fucking hole, and hopefully it ain't the asshole, and stick it in. You don't have to hang from a trapeze. But you watch these porn shows, the guy's a pecker as long as a fucking yardstick. Unrealistic. And unsafe and unrealistic to the woman. You're gonna have sex with her, have sex with her. Caress her. Make her feel good. All this lead-up shit. Expectations that come from porn. Right? Am I right, folks? You know I'm right. But I just can't get past this thing with two men. I'm not a God believer. But I think if it was meant to, the battery's about to run out. But, even if I did, I just don't feel that it was meant to be that way. If we get cut off, then we'll have to catch on another show. By that time to plug this in, by the time I'm walking with this. I appreciate your patronage on here. Whoever donated. If you couldn't, I understand. I think we just possibly saved the day right now. I think we did save it. Here we go. Okay. I just don't believe that it was meant for two men Although a lot of guys think, yeah, I like to see two women doing that. That's a different story. Well, I get a little bit gross with that too, although a lot of men think it's really sexy to watch two women go at it. But me as a man, I just can't picture two men doing things like that. It disgusts me. That's not in my character. It's not how I was raised. It doesn't seem right to me, and you could give these people all the political clout that they need and, permission. Well, you don't need permission to do things behind your door. That's one freedom we do have in this world. You can do everything behind your own locked door you want. The government can't get involved in that, but I imagine someday they might actually will, because we're losing our freedoms all the time. What they do behind doors is another thing. That's their business, but don't come on a show and pretend that you're the most manliest thing that ever came on the fucking planet. Yet you're exposing yourself to another man on camera, as well as other incidents on there where he's exposed himself. Disgusting. I can imagine what the Australian was thinking at the time, because as much as the Australian had a lot of fault, apparently, according to him, he did not go that way in real life. But the other guy assumed, because of his camaraderie or kindred spirit, that he had the poetic license to actually do that. Don't assume these kind of things. You make a fool out of yourself, and it's pretty embarrassing. So now we know a little bit more about this guy. He has to live with it, that it's going public. I don't want his name mentioned at all, because it may not be the person you're thinking of. Call him Peter. Peter. Talk about Peters. Peter. Some people, I think, need a little bit of a saltpeter to control their urges. Not another guy. That just ain't me. Peter North. Yeah, that was his name. How did you know it was Peter North? Actually, it's Northrup. It's not Peter North. It's Peter Northrup. Nortrup. T. Northrup. I think without the T. Peter Northrup. That's what the story is about. Peter Northrup. Now, some of you may be shocked about this, and maybe some of you are not shocked about this, and I understand either way. How do I know that the person telling you this is telling the truth? Oh, he was adamant about it. Even said to me, I'm sorry I even told you this. I know you're going to go out with this sometime. But I didn't do nothing, he said. I didn't participate in this thing, he said. I said, I know. But just telling me, that's going to be the ace in my pocket someday. And that was a long time ago. And that's been the ace in my pocket for a very long time. Big time. When I need to pull out that ace, I'll pull out that ace. This piece of shit and all the crap he said about me and getting involved in the affairs of my life. Now, a lot of people have done that. This could be anybody I'm talking about. I use no names on here. For legal purposes, I will not use no names on here. You have to come up with your own conclusions. And a court of law couldn't bring me to court for this. Because, well, I'm not on camera, for one. Number two, I'm not mentioning no names. I'm following all the protocols of sanity. What you can say and do on camera and what you can't. You got to place a character to this picture, and I really haven't. Now, if some of the things I talked about seems to be similar in some way to somebody you may know on here, that's strictly coincidental. That's our disclaimer. It's incidental. Okay, we're going to wait around. Any more donations on the show? Call me Big Kevin. Hi, I'm Big Kevin. I need jingle. I need jingle on my show. I need jingle. I'm Big Kevin. Big Kevin. Another fucking joke on here. Total fucking joke. But I really appreciate last night. You guys came through for me a little bit. Came through a little bit for me today. And I was not going to go through with the show. I was thinking, maybe not. And maybe if they didn't donate to me much on this show, I'd say I was just going to can the fucking thing, you know. But I decided, what the hell. A few people came through, for whatever reason. Because they just wanted to hear the story. Not that they particularly liked me, but that's okay. My immune system to trolls is quite strong. And it's not the supplements that do that. It's me. My ability to be immune to the lame comments that are made about me, and the lame comments I hear making about other people. Spreading the hate. They just love to do that. They love to hate. But they hate to love. Whatever order you want to see that in. Okay, I'll be right back. By the way, I want to add something else. You know what? Even growing up in school, going into locker rooms, I didn't even like going into locker rooms, having to witness men getting naked and taking a shower. I didn't like that at all. For gym class, I mean, I'd wait till they weren't in there and I'd take a shower or whatever. I don't shower with other men. I don't do that. I don't shower with other men. I don't want to see their thing. I don't want to see it. And if I could see a porno film, I mean, it would bother me even to see a guy take his ding-dong out and do it to the woman. That even bothered me, too. I want to see him. I want to see her. But fortunately, I don't need porn movies. I don't need porn movies. But some people that are extremely lonely in their life, and thank goodness for electronic media, that's their friend. God, there was a guy on there. I won't even tell you what he was doing. Forget it. I won't even go there. Because it disgusts me. It's something I've seen in the past. You know what people do behind their own doors, but don't broadcast it on a porn site and send that in for everybody to see. There's people who do that kind of shit. And certainly don't do it on public media. It's something that nobody's ever forgetting. We've seen some things on here that we're never going to forget. It's burned in our fucking brains, and we wish that we never heard of it. This guy, Peter North, did a lot of those things. He did a lot of those things. Guys, I got to do my workout. I got to find something to eat first. I'm going to end this show. Got a couple of donations. It wasn't much, but hey, we'll take what we got on here. As I said, disclaimer. I'm not mentioning no names on here. And you could use your own discretion as to who you think we're talking about. If it fits the billing, that's your thing. But I'm not going to say any names on here, and I have not said any names on here, and I don't intend to. Use your own imagination. If the shoe fits, wear it to that person, perhaps. And I'll show you what a man is, but it don't involve putting my tongue down a male's throat. Or to do something else. That ain't a real fucking man. It's not a real fucking man. No, that's not.